ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिधि नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पाश्चात्यादेशधारिणे चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सगना रघुनाथान्वितान्तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं धीरतराणाम्। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So in this presentation, I would like to discuss about Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, verse number 37. Swa nikamama bhagaya mat pratiknyam rudamadi kartum mavapluto ratastaha dhrudarada saranobhya chalatguha aririva hantumibam kadottariyaha. The translation says, fulfilling my desire and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. So Bhishma Dev is recollecting the most important or key moments that he shared with Krishna, whether it was in the battlefield or otherwise. Not only relation his relationship with Krishna, but he is also relating Krishna's relationship with his other devotees, especially with Arjuna. At the same time, Bhishma Dev is aware that the position of Arjuna is greatest among the warriors, but amongst of all devotees, the greatest are the gopis, which will also come through in his prayers to Krishna. In this way, although on the deathbed, Bhishma Dev is relishing his life like anything, and we are getting to study how we should also learn to capture the essential moments of our life and make permanent impressions, namely samskaras, in our consciousness, so that in times of challenges, in times of disappointments, in times of even death, we can focus our consciousness on the wonderful, glorious moments and experience the presence of the Lord and His mercy constantly. So, in this particular verse, Bhishma Dev is recollecting one of the most amazing, unusual thing that the Lord did, and that is to break one's own promise. So Bhishma Dev was pressed by Duryodhana that you are not fighting the best and you have the soft corner to the Pandavas. So you are just the namesake, the chief and commander of our army. Your heart is always on that side only. I like that. Duryodhana condemned Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma became very disturbed as a Kshatriya. So, what you doubt about my fighting power? He asked. You think I am not fighting properly till right now? It is not so, he said. Actually, the Pandavas are also very powerful warriors, especially Arjuna being guided by Krishna, and that is why the war is prolonging. Bhishma Dev said to Duryodhana, here it is, these 5 arrows, please keep it. He chanted certain mantras and empowered these arrows, and by these arrows tomorrow I will kill all the 5 Pandavas, he said to Duryodhana. So immediately Duryodhana became greatly joyful because once Bhishma takes over, what Arjuna can do. So Duryodhana was happy, and then he went back to his tent in the camp and is delighting in the prospects of becoming the king. In the meantime, since Krishna is omniscient and he knows everything, so the Lord was greatly concerned of the protection of Arjuna and the other Pandavas. He was not able to sleep properly. Of course, God doesn't sleep like we sleep, but whatever is Yoga Nidra was kind of disturbed, and Arjuna saw that Krishna was going back and forth in the tent, anxious about something. He asked Krishna, what happened to you? Why are you not sleeping? The Lord told him that tomorrow Bhishma has taken a vow to kill all of you. So let us go. And they all went, Krishna, Arjuna, and Draupadi, all went out of their camps into the enemy camps, approached Bhishma Dev. In fact, even Krishna, as arranged before, he and Arjuna, before they went inside, he asked Draupadi to enter the tent of Bhishma Dev. Can you imagine the lady on the battlefield, how difficult it will be? So actually, Draupadi went inside. Bhishma Dev was doing his bhajans, chanting Mahamantra and Gayatri Mantra, and he was in his meditation, the so-called Samadhi. So he heard some lady's ankle bells and movement. So without opening his eyes, he said, Saubhagyavati Bhava. And Draupadi then revealed her identity. It is me. Are you sure with the blessings that you gave because you are fighting against my husbands? And Bhishma Dev replied, at any cost, one of your person, whoever it will be, spared, that I promise. So that way, Draupadi will not become a widow in her lifetime according to the blessings that he had made. Since Krishna is omniscient, even arranged all kinds of tricks before and make sure that his devotees are always in the safest position. So after meeting with Bhishma Dev, Krishna took Arjuna to the tent of Duryodhana. And Duryodhana was so glad to see his enemy, so to say, his cousin brother, coming in. And he said to Arjuna that you decided to come to our camp. How can I serve you? Duryodhana remembered actually what kind of hospitality that the Pandavas had been when Duryodhana was ridiculed them long before during their vanavas. So he said, it is my turn now. You make a wish and I will fulfill whatever you desire because you have come to me as a guest. You want the kingdom without the fight, I am ready to give you as a charity. Duryodhana said this to Arjuna. But Arjuna said nothing doing. For Kshatriya, no charity business. So you keep this kingdom. But we have come to beg you something else. Duryodhana said, what do you want? And then Arjuna said, give us those 5 arrows. At that particular moment, Duryodhana's heart was shattered, but we can appreciate how Kshatriya kept their words despite all their troubles, actually. So Duryodhana gave those 5 arrows, and when Bhishma came to know what Krishna did, really that is the way to win over, he said. He made me break my vow, and I invested special potency in these 5 arrows of all my tapasya, with all my tapasya of so many years, and that now has been gone and taken away. So Bhishma took another vow on the spot. He said, by tomorrow I will make either Krishna break his vow or Arjuna will be dead. And with that determination, he went to the battlefield and started to fight. There was a very severe fight. There are still exchanges of divine rasa between Krishna and his devotees. They knew this and they are relishing heavy fight, very fearful fight was going on among Kshatriyas. And then at one point of time, Arjuna was made helpless of the Bhishma's attack. It was so powerful at certain time, powerful arrows were shot towards Arjuna. Krishna would actually get up from sitting position and then take those arrows on his body to safeguard Arjuna. And seeing this, Bhishma even more excited and again shoot arrows after arrows, and then finally Arjuna was in very helpless condition, and Bhishma was about to attack him and kill him. And at that time, Krishna could not tolerate. He got down from the chariot while marching toward Bhishma with anger. He picked up the wheel of a chariot that was lying on the battlefield nearby, and he was spinning like a Sudarshana chakra, and he was about to run to kill Bhishma Dev. And Arjuna also got down from the chariot and running behind Krishna and pulling his thigh from behind and told to Krishna, please do not break your vow, this is not good. And at that point, Bhishma Dev folded his hands together, and he bowed down to Krishna because he aware that Krishna has fulfilled his desire, that he has broken his vow. So in this moment of passing away, Bhishma Dev remembering how Krishna saved Arjuna, he's broken his vow, and that has touched his heart so much. Normally people in general will not do such things to anybody. We have some principles, integrity, whatever. It was more like bending down your self-esteem. So even in Krishna consciousness, this can be facilitated, or even sometimes life can be spared for such a person. So Bhishma Dev recollected these beautiful pastimes, and he remembers all the details, and even dropped his outer garment on the way, that is Krishna was making it very relishable for Bhishma. Even single part of Krishna's approach is very rasik, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant in that translation we saw. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport that he dropped his covering cloth on the way, and out of anger he did not know that he had dropped it. Bhishma Dev at once gave up his weapons and stood to be killed by Krishna, his beloved Lord. The fighting of the day was thus ended at that very moment, and Arjuna was saved. Of course, there was no possibility of Arjuna's death because the Lord himself was on the chariot, but because Bhishma Dev wanted to see Lord Krishna take up some weapon to save his friend, the Lord created this Leela or situation, making Arjuna's death imminent. He stood before Bhishma Dev to show him that his promise was fulfilled and that he had taken up the wheel. So the theme is, when we love someone, we are happy to be defeated by them completely. So especially in a relationship with Guru and disciple, this is very important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was such a scholar, Nimai Pandit. Once when Ishvara Puri, his guru, came when he mentioned that he had written certain verse delineating the concepts of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he gave it to Nimai Pandit to edit. And Nimai Pandit, after reading it, he He found there is only one small discrepancy, and he pointed it out and saying that this can be changed like this. So Ishwarapuri took it and said, yes, he will consider it. And he went back to his palace after chanting Mahamantra and Gayatri Mantra. He looked into it and he came back and he said to Nimai Pandit that I seriously feel that whatever I have written is the most accurate word and that one can use in this context. And we know that what is the background of Nimai Pandit? He can convince anybody on anything. He can make statement and he can defeat that statement, then defeat the defeated statement, and again defeat the defeated statements. And this is the kind of logical arguments he would have offered. But here is dealing with a spiritual master. He immediately accepted and said, yes, you are correct. It was my foolishness, try to find fault in the ecstasy of the devotee, not on the writings, because whatever the devotee does is the ecstasy, the pure bhava for the Lord, which is perfect, and find faults is a great offense. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted his defeat in front of his Guru. Similarly, we have to find out what are the places where our ego become an hindrance in our practice of pure bhakti and cultivate the relationship with the deities, with the spiritual master, with senior Vaishnavas in such a way that through that level only our ego can be melted and pure practice of bhakti will be established. We may try on our own to do something, but they may not be so successful. So I will stop here for this presentation. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam.